So yeah, I think we can start. So hi everyone, and welcome to the weekly community call. Please remember to write your name under the Academy file in the you join section, and I can share maybe here the link with you in the chat. And yeah, okay. And please remember that this talk is recorded, so we follow the CNCF code of conduct, and please be kind to each other. And yeah, it is recorded, so please turn off your camera if you don't want to be recorded. And so we can start with the agenda. I think that today we have a lot of topics. So someone write about Okta plugin for Falco. I think it could be Thomas, but I'm not sure about that. So please tell me when is to address it. Anyone of you have write something about Okta plugin for Falco? Yeah, maybe we can just keep that, and when someone is going to say something, we can. We have a lot of people joining just right now, so maybe it's better to wait just another minute. So yeah, let's start. And so if anyone want to say something about Okta plugin, I will skip to the next topic, and maybe we will go then to this. And the second topic is the new BPF proposal, and I think was to address it because I wrote it just two, two, 2 hours ago. And I can share with you some details about it. I have opened a pull request on the libs repo, and maybe I can share. I don't know if I can share the screen here, but I think yes. Yeah, I can share it. So you have to see right now I opened this pull request that I also brought in the Academy file. And in this pull request, I just want to propose a new BPF probe that I want just to highlight here that must not replace the old probe, but is just an alternative. If you have such enough recent kernel, you can exploit these new kind of features that I will introduce in this probe. So first, I don't will address every single section in this document, but just a quick overview about that. Important is the motivation why I think about a new BPF probe. The idea is that all the features that we need are not compatible with all the kernel versions. So I don't see any reason to embed all the code inside just one code base without any benefit. In some way, we just increase the code size without take advantage of this new feature. And there is also the risk to introduce a new bug and new complexity and new problems with the verifier and all the Slang stuff that we all know well. So this is the main idea. Have a new probe that will start from the kernel 5.8 for two main reasons. We can say the first one is that we introduce a new API, that is the ring buff API, introducing the 5.8 version of the kernel. And this API allows to directly reserve space in the BPF ring buff, so avoid all the stuff of copying data from a map and copy again into the actual perf buffer. And this is a waste of time and performance. And after it, we have also we have also a great API to use with this per buffer, also with this ring buff, both from kernel side and the user space side. So this could be a great boost in terms of performance, in my opinion. And the second reason for which we have to use we start with this kernel version 5.8 is that we require that BTF information are directly exposed by the verifier and not just approaches like libBPF and BTF hub does, because the verifier, in order to use modern features like direct memory access, need the real BTF information from the kernel that must not be tainted. And if you load that from an external sources like we do with BTF Hub, there is this risk. So we have the kernel developer have to avoid this, and you need the real BTF exposed by your kernel. But with the kernel version 5.8, I think that there will be no huge problem with this. All the kernel with this version should be shipped with the BTF already exposed. And in this document, I just suggest a pointer to all the modern kernel version that should have this one. This should have this BTF already exposed. So let's come back to the motivation. This is the real important thing. Why we need, in my opinion, a new probe. And let's say what is new here, because we can say new, yes, but what is new? The one of the most important thing is sure the career support. I think that all we know what is career, but it is compiles one run everywhere. And the idea is to have a unique driver built for our kernel version without the dependencies of kernel headers, or without the all the problems with the compilation locally when you don't have the driver in our buckets. You don't have to download it in any way. This new BPF probe will be directly shipped with the file with Falco, so it is a self-contained binary that automatically will install the probe. Will inject the probe in the kernel without any stuff from the user. So the deployment phase is really similar to the current one, but you don't have problem at runtime with the download or compiling stuff. So the ring buffer, I have already said something about that, but please note that for each of these points, you have in this focus section more detailed description. For example, for the query support, you have the subsection query, or for the ring buffer, you have all the details for why I choose this approach, and also for all other points. I can say something about this new type of VPF tracing programs that are that allow us to directly access the kernel memory. So just like in C, you have a C program, you have the pointers to the address memory. Also here, you can directly read this memory without the BPF helpers like BPF core read, BPF paper read, and something like that. And this is a real more efficient. If you can see also the difference from the bytecode of a normal BPF program and a new program that directly accesses the memory, and you can look it with more quality. And yeah, other points we can say we use global variables that are sort of BPF map that allow us to have better performance, because they are memory mapped with the user space, so the user space can directly access that without the BPF syscall. While in kernel space, you can directly write in that without using the helpers. So this is very similar to the direct memory access with the trace point, and you have a sort of a similar gain in this sense. Another point is the BPF tool skeleton that allows to generate these embed probe, we can say, because the bytecode is directly embedded in a CDR file that is compiled inside our libs, I think, scope. And you can ship these directly, and when you start Falco, it will directly inject this bytecode inside the kernel. Obviously, eBPF will does is relocation if there are problems with the types incompatibility with the kernels. And we have to provide by design complete support for ARM. We have libpf that help us with a lot of macros. When you compile the probe, libpf detects which lang the architecture that you have and will define a sort of a set of macro that we can use. And I have checked that our trace point are supported in ARMS and also the new probe tracing program. So I think we shouldn't have problem in this sense. And the last 2 points are very this is important because we need a testing phase for our BPF program. In this month, I checked some RC scores, some catch in the BPF probe, and I see that there are particular cases in which we don't know, but a flag maybe change completely the behavior of RC score, and we are not able to detect it. So we see in the user space, maybe with Falco, a page fault error from the BPF, but we don't know really why this is happened. And with a specific test case for every syscall that is injected in our kernel, or one test for the syscall, or maybe also 20 tests for the syscall if the syscall is quite complex. So we can understand from the low level where is the problem, and we can, after that, we can detect more easily the problems that are in user space maybe. So this is a really important point from my point of view. And last but not least, we have a more modern architecture that is quite a huge section at the end of this document. I can show you. The idea is to have, like today, just 7 BPF program attached in the kernel. And this BPF program we can consider mainly for the sysenter, sysaccess syscall, like the dispatcher, big dispatcher, that call event-specific program that will manage the syscall. And we can consider 2 different type of events that are the fixed site event that can take advantage of the ring buffer facilities like reserve memory, while we have still the variable size event that will use the ring buffer, but will still use a copy in the map because we don't know a compile time, the dimension. So we can take advantage of the modern FPI, but not of the reserving memory stuff. And here all the details about that. I also write a short of pseudocode of how this probe should be. And yes, I think that this is all from my point of view. Let me check. Yeah, the requirements are kernel 5.8, and I already said that we need the original BTF from the kernel. And yeah, I summarize just the final goal that I want to obtain from this project. So yeah, that's all. And please, if you have a suggestion now or in the Slack channel or wherever you want, please contact me or say something. Yeah.
Can I?
Sure.
Okay. First of all, I mean, really good job, Andrea. Thank you very much. For those who didn't know, me and Andrea will have a talk at the eBPF day about Falco and eBPF, and possibly we touch some of these topics too. I think that the main thing here, aside from better performance, the main thing is query support that, of course, will allow an easier adoption of Falco, because at the moment the greatest friction of the Falco adoption is basically, you just launch Falco and Falco cannot find the driver. It tries to download the driver, but it cannot find it. So having the eBPF probe embedded inside the SCAP, it's really great. It's a great feature. And of course, I had in the past months, I struggled with some eBPF verifier issues. So removing some custom code that we are now using and instead make use of the kernel API is a great step forward. for the simplicity and to reduce these kind of verifier issues. I hate them, basically. Everyone hates them, I guess. But so for me, it is a big +1, considering that it won't, it won't substitute the old kernel probes, the old eBPF probes, but it's just a new one.
Yeah, if you have just the possibility to install it with your kernel, it's okay. Otherwise, you have to use also. No problem from that point of view.
Again, thank you very much for all the research that you put into.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I actually have a question. Sorry. First of all, the proposal is great. I went through it and it's very thorough. So big props for that. I have just two small questions. The first one is, how much effort do you think it will take, or how much code can actually be reused from the existing Pro in order to implement the new BTF one? And the second one, and stop me if I'm just talking nonsense here, but I understand that there are ways to extract BTF information from kernels that don't have BTF enabled and use that to actually mount BTF enabled probes into those kernels. Is that something that you've looked into?
Yeah, let's start with the second question, maybe. The idea is there are some projects like BTF Hub or BTF Gen, that is a sort of BTF Hub tailored for your BPF program, that provide you the BTF information. You have to store it in a specific location, and after that, libBPF is able to check the BTF information in this location and match with your BPF probe, we can say. The problem here is that libBPF does only relocation, and if you do only relocation, you can exploit this kind of feature. While with tracing features like the BPF new program, the verifier needs the real BTF information. If you check the code of the verifier, it directly points to the section in which it can find the real BTF, because an external user can load BTF information that is dated, and possibly it can access the memory that is not allowed, so it will cause a kernel panic or something like that BPF can't allow. So this is what I see. At least this is only what I see. I don't know if you have other pointers about that or not.
I looked into it a couple of months ago. I'll look and see if I can find any links or anything. It's not really fresh on my mind right now.
Okay, so if you have other information about that, please share with us this. That is really important. But this is what I discovered right now, and I think that we have no other way to support external BTF sources if you don't have directly exposed in the kernel, I think. And the first question, sorry, but I don't remember the first question.
How much effort it will take to actually write the BTF?
Yeah, sure. I saw our fillers, and I think that almost the code is already there. Obviously, we have to refactor it with the new features like these direct memory access or like the global variables. And I think that we can say the architecture and not the single filler for the syscall is not a easy task. We can do this in pretty short time. The real big task is to port all our 300 filler in the new probe, because you have also to add the test for it. So it could be quite a huge work. It depends mainly on also the contribution from you, we can say from the community, because my idea is to provide you a sort of framework to add a new syscall, to just add. You have just to port it from the old, no new code is needed. So it's quite simple to port this from the old probe to the new one. And if you have a framework to generate the new filler and to generate the test associated with it, I can think that we can do this in very few months. We can have a real implementation of that. My dream is to have something working for the next release of Falco, but something obviously that will be experimental, not a real production solution, because there is a lot of work in it, and this is almost the 1st of April, so it's not so easy, but I want to work hard on this, and I hope that you can help me in doing this, maybe if you have time, if you have to, if you want.
Okay.
I mean, personally, I see this more as an opportunity for the community to co-work on this project. And once we decide on a final revision of this proposal and get it merged, potentially we can decide to spawn or book a working group session every week, maybe, to synchronize and eventually share the work between all of us. And I think that will be great to to have a community-based effort in this case. And again, Andrea, thank you for all. I mean, the amount of detail you put in the document, that's really impressive. And I think this is super valuable, especially for a UX standpoint, because this will avoid basically, the need of building all the drivers like we do right now for at least the newer version of the kernel, and eventually, most of the versions that people will use in the future, right? When people will migrate to more than 5.8. So thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. And I was also to thank here. I see that there is Giles. I want to thank him because for his test that he made on the probe, because they really help in the decision how to make something, maybe where to drop events, or what is the cost of doing that. So really thank you, Giles, for all your data that I have also to consider in my new proposal, my new probe.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's going to be really cool to see what kind of performance improvements we can get out of it. Yeah, really exciting.
Really impressive. Thank you, Giles. And so if you don't have other question about the proposal, please also in the Slack channel, don't be shy. Also, if you think this is a stupid thing, please ask, because it could be really a really interesting thing. So after that, we have in the weekly highlights the new driver kit builder for Rocky Linux. I don't know, right?
That's me. Thanks. Hi, I just want to introduce myself real quick. I'm David Windsor. I represent SecureWorks, which is the cybersecurity wing of Dell. And I just want to talk about our use case real quick. We have a C++ agent that's going to be running on a bunch of our different customer machines that's based on Falco, that uses the Falco libraries as a collector. It's not using the Falco gRPC output because of performance reasons and for some other reasons. But yeah, so what we've had to do is, because of supply chain attack issues, we wanted to mirror your guys' driver build grid infrastructure internally, which we have done. And we have the PR that I wanted to talk about is us contributing back our effort to add support for Rocky Linux. So let me post into the chat real quick. PR. Right, and then so there's that. It's really dirt simple compared to the CentOS one, just because Rocky doesn't really have a concept of Volt versus Stream, and there's only just a handful of releases. And I just wanted to share that just real quick, my screen. Hopefully this works. Oh crap, I have to allow Zoom to share system prep to second. I need to relaunch, so I'm going to rejoin this meeting in 1 second. Be right back, guys.
Don't worry, go. So I hope that in the meanwhile, the Okta plugin will appear here with some information.
Hey, sorry about that.
Yeah, so
Hopefully
I again, David.
If not, I can just describe. No big deal. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully you guys can see this. It's a VM, so I'm not sure if you can build it.
Yeah, we can see.
All right, but yeah, so we've got our agent up and running on Rocky Linux using the Falco collector, and I'm just going to load the driver real quick. So it's up running and collecting telemetry, publishing to our backend. You know, we're seeing it in our XDR application. So yeah, I just wanted to say that that was fairly easy to do. But that's up there for review. Also, kind of while we're at it, I was if you scroll down to the other issue that I added to the meeting, the DriverKit fix for Ubuntu. So post this in the chat as well. So apparently, so DriverKit head has been broken with Ubuntu for I think a while now, or at least for a couple weeks. And since we've replicated the DriverKit internally, it's really easy for us to find and fix bugs like this. But unfortunately for this one, it requires a change to your guys' hosting. You just have to bump some binutils versions and stuff like that. And we were wondering if, like, since we have staff and capacity for this, if it would be possible for us to help you guys, either by us becoming maintainers or something other. I'm really just not sure about the community process. So I just figured I'd join the call and ask. But yeah, like we've got staff and capacity for this kind of stuff. So I just figured I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, thank you a lot, David, for that. I'm not sure if someone of the maintainer want to say something about that, because I don't know about the stuff of all the management behind these.
So quick comment here. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely room for new maintainers, and that's definitely the best, interest of the community for this. And, in the governance, you can find on the Falco Security Organization on GitHub, you basically have instructions on, the kind of the process of becoming one. And it usually takes, as an heuristic, like a couple of months of effort, just, people, to actually show their commitment to the project. But it's just a matter of like creating a few PRs, contributing actively, and, attending those calls, and, sharing as much as you can. And that's definitely a straightforward process if you really have this intention. And that would be fantastic, by the way, if you can do this.
Absolutely. No, yeah, I just wanted to say that we had a meeting internally, and we have, like, we've got clearance to dedicate time to community stuff. We've submitted some fixes before. We submitted a fix for the CentOS driver builder that was for CentOS 8, just some releases needed to be moved to Vault. So yeah, like, we're familiar with the infrastructure. Yeah, and it's, I just figured that I would introduce myself, introduce our use case, yeah, and kind of ask us about the maintainership thing. But we absolutely are interested in like contributing back, not necessarily just for DriverKit either. So yeah.
Quick question here. In the context of maintainership, but even in the context of contribution, which are the repos that you are targeting the most? I suppose test infra and DriverKit at this point.
DriverKit. Yep, it's mainly DriverKit and libs. We're about to post a PR that's going to add a parameter to SCAP open, and so that we can open a driver by name, which we're already doing in our code. We've got a patch queue essentially on top of DriverKit and libs that we would be really interested in helping you guys, merge. So that said, also we've got some more driver builders coming. We're probably going to have one for Oracle Linux. So we're going to have one for Oracle Linux coming soon. We're going to have one for SUSE Enterprise coming soon. We already have drivers for RHEL 7, 8, and 9. But the issue with that is that I don't know about the legality of it, because like technically, I think our rail driver builders should use subscription management, right? And like, I don't know how that would work with the CNCF and all that. So like, that's something that we probably would need to talk about, but we have drivers and like, we've got our agent running on rail 7, 8, and 9. So yeah, there's that. And also we've got the use case of secure boot. That would be really nice if we could have our drivers just load on machines without having to install self-signed keys and run mock util and stuff like that. So I don't know, like if there's any work to be done there, but yeah, like we just got a bunch of stuff that we're interested in doing. You know, so, and you know, some of it we'd like to contribute back to the community. Obviously we don't want to fork. That's not going to happen. So, you know, like that's really what we want to do. So
this is a super big +1 for me, at least, but I suppose this is kind of the opinion of all the other maintainers. I mean, especially if they're not here. So let's definitely keep in touch, and looking forward to see what's coming.
No doubt. Yeah. Great. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
And maybe also a debrief in the HackMD for people who are not in the call.
Yeah, sure. We can write something on the community, or maybe also in the Falco channel. Maybe it's also better because, yeah. So thank you a lot, David, for this.
Just involve more people.
Thank you, Angelo. And after that, I think we have also in the agenda, we have from Mauro running integration test on libs using simple example.
Yeah, thank you. That's basically just an idea that I had. A few weeks ago, I pulled the latest changes in master from the libs into our fork, and basically that broke a few of our integration tests on our upper repo. So since I know that you have this SIMSP example binary that it's mostly used for manual testing, I just came up with an idea of, hey, let's just put this into a container, run it, and just execute a bunch of commands and see that the logs for those commands are somewhere. And that's basically it. That's what the proof of concept that I have is. I just want to know if like this is something that you'd be interested in implementing, maybe not in the state that it is, which is like really rough. And I know that you already have integration tests, but as far as I can tell, they are for the larger Falco product, which is fine mostly, but it'd be nice to have lib-specific integration tests that can pinpoint problems faster and maybe even be part of the PR checks in order to avoid breaking master. That's basically it. You can take a look. The link is in the HackMD, and let me know. Maybe I can create an issue on the repo for libs so we can broaden the discussion of how can we implement integration tests for the library repo itself.
Yeah, the issue seems a great idea in my opinion. So we can discuss that. But for me, it's a really great idea because more tests we have, the better it is. So yeah, thank you Mauro for that. I don't know if someone wants to say something about that.
Yes, I already took a look at the issue. It looks great. Well, at the example, it looks great. I think the idea is very cool, and I think it's one of various kinds of tests that we actually need in libs. So it would be a good step forward. And I would go even further to think about an implementation that doesn't just use the example binary, but it has its own way of interacting with libsysp so that we can choose what to test. Those are end-to-end tests, essentially. And if you open the issue, I will add my thoughts, more thoughts that I'm having on the subject, and that are basically that we want to test individual events, so just to see if we catch the event. Then we might want some tests such as the one that Falco has, even libs, that check if, considering that events have been sent, what is happening then if the state is correctly detected. And then we want to have something like what Mauro is proposing, that are full end-to-end tests. So I do something and I want to see something else on the other end of the pipeline. I sorely need them because the last couple PRs that I made did break something, and we did notice a bit after a while. Maybe sometimes in Falco testing, maybe sometimes in someone from the community like yourselves did that. So and that's stuff that's very hard to see, like when you review or when you write the code. So that's the kind of stuff that automated testing can help with. So thanks a lot. Please, if you can open an issue, I will add more thoughts and see if I can test your code as well.
Definitely. Since you brought it up, I know there's a regression test issue that's open. Anyone want to comment, like a short comment on what the state of that is? Do you need help fixing something else?
I already sent, I think, 2 PRs for that regression tester, or maybe one is from someone, I don't remember who, but I think someone in this call. And then I believe that there's another one coming. That's the last one. We fixed everything, I think, in there last week. And there's another coming from Gregor, who some of you might have interacted with on, usually not on community calls, but on PRs. So and I was actually asking him to send this patch upstream. I don't know if it's time yet, but it's otherwise I will do it. But it's just one bit that's missing. The rest.
Send it to me in case.
Sorry.
Send it to me in case. if Greg is busy, I'll try to help.
No problem. No problem.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. Really, one additional comment. I don't see this overlapping with integration tests we have in Falco at all, because if you look at individual tests, most of them try to assert that the rule engine works, and we don't really test, the features of libs. They come like for free in some cases, but we definitely need to test libs in in much more detail. And I think Falco is not the right place for that. So I totally endorse your idea.
Awesome.
So yeah, thank you, Jason, Luca, and Mauro. And in the agenda, we are also always the Octa plugin for Falco, but I think that today we will discuss this in the next call, I think. And the last topic is the MC for the next call. This is always a funny topic, so I think we will choose this in the Falco channel like always, and I will close here the call if any one of you have no more arguments. So I thank you all, guys, and have a good morning, evening, afternoon, or whatever it is for you. And bye all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, everyone.
And the pro.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.